In this video, we're going to replace the blower motor resistor and the wiring harness on this Chevy Silverado. Let's get into it. I'm going to pop this panel off right here. You can use a trim tool. Just get underneath here. It's just clipped in and it just slides off. If your vehicle doesn't have a center console, you're not going to have to do that. Now you're going to use a 7mm socket. In the back here, there is a screw right there. You want to get underneath there and just take that screw out. This vehicle, that screw is actually missing. And then further back here, you want to take this screw out. Same 7mm screw. There's another one over here. Those out. Then you can grab the panel and it slides right down and out. Now I'm going to disconnect the connectors on the resistor. Just push down on the tab, slide the connector off. Same with this one. Push down on the tab and slide it out of the way. Now using a 5.5mm socket, I'm going to take the screws out of the resistor. There's one there. There's one on the back side. Take those out. And grab the resistor and it slides right down. Now take the resistor, line it up, same way the old one came out. Get the screws started. One there. And the other one. And we'll tighten these up. Just snug. Take the connectors, line those up, and lock them in place. We're going to disconnect the battery. To access the battery a little easier, we're going to take this plate off. You don't necessarily need to, but it just makes it a lot easier. We're going to use a 13mm socket. Take these 4 bolts out, loosen those up. Grab the bracket and slide it out of the way. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to loosen up this nut on the negative terminal and take the terminal off and slide it out of the way. Before we connect the connectors, we want to replace the ends. So we want to line these up, make sure you find the right one that goes to which one. And I'm just going to cut this electrical tape right here. You can just use a razor blade. Just be careful. Now these are the same right here, so we're going to replace this one first. You want to line this up. Now we don't need all this wire, so we can trim this down a little bit. We'll do one at a time. So we can cut the purple wire and attach it to this one. All right, so we'll line those up. I'm going to give myself a little extra room, so I'll just make this a little bit longer. But I can cut the green wire and the purple wire in the same spot. Right there. So we're going to take the insulation off the ends. You're going to need some wire strippers. Find the right size, strip the wire about that much, do the same on the purple one. Squeeze it down, slide it off. That looks good like that. You can take the ends and just give them a twist, just makes it a little bit easier. And we're going to use these butt connectors, line these up. And with the wire strippers, you can crimp these down, or if you have specific wire crimpers, you want to use those. Just give it a wiggle. That looks good. Do the same on the purple wire. Twist it. Make sure it slides all the way in. And crimp it down. Give it a wiggle. That's tight. You don't want to pull too hard, but just give it a wiggle, see if it's set in there properly. Now we can line up the other one with the black wire. And we're going to offset it a little bit. We don't want to cut it right exactly where the other one is, just so it's a little nicer and neater. Trim this here. And trim the black wire. Move that connector out of the way. I'm going to do the same right here. Strip the wire. A little less than ½ inch. Same with this one. Using the butt connector, crimp it down. And crimp that one down. And give it a wiggle. Those are tight. Perfect. Now we're going to heat up the shrink wrap, and that's going to shrink these and seal these to the wires. I'm just going to use a heat gun. If you have a special butane torch, you could use that, and that will work. I'm just putting some license plates underneath, just so I don't singe the carpet or anything. Just going to move it back and forth a lot. Just going to seal it to the wire. All right, now that looks pretty good. You can see it's sealed up on the ends. You want it to look just like that. Do the same on the other one. There you go. That looks good. Let that cool down. That's all set. These are nice and sealed properly. If you wanted to, you could wrap these up in electrical tape, but it's not necessary. Now we can plug this connector in, get that out of our way. And now we're going to deal with this connector. We're going to take a look at the new one and the old one. Now the old one only has 2 connectors on the bottom and then 1 terminal on the top. So 2 terminals on the bottom, 1 terminal on top. The new one has 4 terminals on top. So we don't need all those wires. What you can do is, if you wanted to, just cut the wires. Then you don't have to deal with them, or you can remove the wires. We're gonna remove the wires. It's not that hard. Just take a pick. We're gonna take this little lock out here. You just pop this down. And this is a little locking mechanism. And on the sides here, we'll just use the pick and just pop this up. It slides out the rest of the way. Set that aside. And we know that the wire we need is the second one in, so we can take this wire out and then the other 2 on the opposite side. There's a little area right there. We need to pop that up. And then we can slide the wire out. There you go. So you just slide the little tab up and then the wire will come out just like that. We don't need that wire. And then the other 2 on the other side. Slide that wire out. And then the last one. That's good. Now we only have 3 wires in our harness. Now if you had all those wires, obviously you want to leave them. Double check, make sure it matches. Looks the same. Both sides. Now we'll put this lock back in. Just line it up. Lock it down. Now we can splice in these wires just like we spliced in the other ones. Now with the connectors going in the same direction, I am going to give myself a little more slack. It's always to have a little more than a little less. I'm going to match this connector up with the black one, or that terminal. And I'll cut those together right there. Slide that out of the way. Now strip the wires. It's about a 1/2 inch of insulation. Just use the crimpers, crimp it down. That's good. Do the same on this. Give it a wiggle, make sure it's good. I'll move on. Go to the red wire. And I'm going to stagger the wires again, just so they're not all balled up in the same area. Trim this right here. Give those a twist. And crimp it down. One down. Those are good. Just go a little higher with the last one. Up there. This one we're going to use the blue butt connector because it's the wire's thinner. Clamp it down. All right, that's tight. Now we can shrink wrap all of these. Again, I got the old license plates underneath so I don't burn the carpet by accident. Now you can tape those up as well if you want to. And we'll just plug this in. Make sure those are clipped in. Those are out of the way. Now we can put that cover back up. Now we'll put this cover back up, line it up. And get the screws started. And then if you have that last screw, you want to get that one started over there. Once those are all started, then we'll tighten them down. And tighten the last one down. Now take this panel, line it up, and lock it down. Now connect the battery, the negative terminal, line that up. Tighten down the nut, just snug, and then give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight. Now put this bracket in place, get the bolts started. And tighten that down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.